ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
Stop resisting right now, bro. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
Leave me the alone.
Stop resisting. Hands behind your back.
New police body camera video just released. It shows a confrontation between police and a man in La Jolla. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. A video recorded by a witness had previously sparked outrage. Our ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura explains why activists say the new video only enhances their push for police reform.
That's right. The video shows that police had two encounters with Jesse Evans, the man they say was urinating in public. Now, at the end of the first encounter, Evans walks away from officers, and then the officers get into their vehicle and they catch up with Evans to try and detain him. Here's what happens with that second encounter.
Stop.
I don't want to put my pants. Leave me the alone.
Stop, bro. Stop resisting right now, bro. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
Leave me the alone.
Stop resisting. Hands behind your back.
Stop resisting.
Now, much of the video looks like this, where it's just tough to visually comprehend what's happening for several minutes as the officer is just too close to Evans during an apparent struggle. But you hear the officer say several times to stop resisting, and Evans repeatedly say he had to use the bathroom. Now, a bystander who shot the video shows a different angle of the confrontation, showing officers struggling with Evans and punching him several times. He was booked on resisting arrest and battery of an officer. Community advocates say Evans should not be charged. Now, Evans is also staying with Amy Zamudio, a homeless advocate. Zamudio spoke at a news conference today saying that Evans was walking from Ralph's in La Jolla to the beach, which is a very long walk with no restrooms in between.
So by the time the police approached him, he was ready to use the restroom. He did not use the restroom until after he was beaten up, put in an ambulance, and then taken to the hospital.
Now, the whole video released by police is about 10 minutes long. It includes some freeze frames and some written narration from police in which they say officers, at the beginning of the confrontation, Evans punched at the officers twice. Now, Internal Affairs is investigating the incident. We're reporting live tonight. Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
Anthony, thank you. And now to the coronavirus. Today, state leaders said we remain on track to end almost all COVID restrictions June 15th. ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz shows us which local industry is likely to get the biggest rebound.
The pandemic has slowed travel and canceled events, and that's money that our city desperately relies on. With reopening just a couple weeks away, the tourism industry says a return to normal can't come soon enough. The finish line for California is in clear view. On June 15th, capacity limits and social distancing will end, and masks will only be required in some settings. With a built-up demand to travel, experts say San Diego will come roaring back.
I am expecting a very, very big response from tourists right now.
Hotel owner Bob Rauch says they don't expect corporate travel to return until the fall, but the state's reopening deadline is coming at the perfect time for travel.
But the next 100 days, starting right around the end of May to about the second week of September, is going to be a very, very strong tourism season.
The state will align with CDC travel guidance, which recommends unvaccinated people get tested before a flight, but it won't be required. While there will be a greater demand for travel, Rauch says the industry is struggling with short staffing.
It is extremely hard to hire employees right now because of the unemployment bonus. They're not interested in coming back. We are having difficulty getting them to return to the workplace.
Other changes we'll see after June 15th are new guidance for venues. Indoor venues with more than 5,000 guests will be required to provide proof of vaccination or a negative test. For outdoor venues with more than 10,000 guests, it will only be a recommendation. Some venues like Petco Park already have those requirements in place. They're planning to host the Cincinnati Reds at full capacity on June 17th. San Diego State tells me they're reviewing that new venue guidance from the state of California. They're also working with county officials on how to move forward with events and big games at Viejas Arena moving forward. From Mission Bay, Jennifer De La Cruz, ABC 10 News.
The Padres announced they'll return to full capacity on June 17th. They will play the Cincinnati Reds on what's being called now full opening day. Festivities will include a pregame DJ, a military flyover, and postgame fireworks. Starting the 17th, season ticket holders will return to their regular seat locations. As more Californians return to work in person, employers are trying to balance a return to normal with keeping their workers safe. Our ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl is going in depth on what to expect at the office.
As it stands today, employees and customers in California still have to wear masks while indoors, whether they're vaccinated or not, with limited exceptions. Starting June 15th, state officials say the mask mandate will end for vaccinated people in most situations. So what will work environments look like next month?
I think everybody wants to get back to normal, but the new normal, an overused phrase, is going to look somewhat different.
Employment law expert Dan Eaton says Cal OSHA is still working out the details. They were about to vote on a bunch of new COVID regulations this week, but they decided to go back to the drawing board to incorporate the new guidance from the CDC. Still, Cal OSHA's old proposal offers clues about what's to come.
You're going to have very different rules that apply to those who are fully vaccinated and those who are not fully vaccinated.
Vaccinated workers will be allowed to go maskless in many situations, but they'll have to show documentation to their boss that they're 2 weeks beyond their last dose. Businesses will have to provide voluntary masks to all unvaccinated workers. And businesses will be required to test those unvaccinated employees for COVID at least weekly, or they'll be subject to physical distancing requirements. Businesses can choose to continue requiring everyone to wear masks, and they can't stop employees from wearing them either.
You can't take action against someone who wants to wear a mask.
Businesses that break Cal OSHA's rules will be subject to fines. Once you're back in the workplace, Eaton says expect a new kind of etiquette. Don't ask your coworker why they're wearing a mask.
That starts to get into an inquiry as to whether somebody has a disability that makes vaccination unwarranted or a religious objection unwarranted. And those are the kinds of conversations that are intrusive and that you really cannot have in the workplace.
If those questions become pervasive, that could be considered harassment, he says, and that could get you and the business sued. Cal OSHA will release updated regulations in about a week and vote on them June 3rd. Once adopted, the new standards would last until December. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
And for now, workers must continue wearing masks unless they're alone in a room or while eating and socially distanced from others.
Relief tonight after a brush fire threatened homes in Lakeside. It started about 11:30 this morning on eastbound 8 at Greenfield. One neighbor tells us he rushed home after hearing the wind push the fire toward his property. He says after 20 fires in 22 years, he's learned to create defensible space.
And it worked. It worked fabulously, but still your heart races when you hear that there's a fire close by.
Cal Fire kept the fire to 3 acres because another fire burned in the same spot last week. The cause of this fire is still under investigation.
The mother of a U.S. soldier is back with her family tonight after being deported more than a year ago. ABC 10 News reporter Adam Rakusin reveals the change they say needs to be made to protect other military families like theirs.
1 year, 4 months, and 16 days. That's how long Rocio Rebollar Gomez was separated from her family.
She hasn't been able to hug her family in over a year. She counted every single day that she was outside of the U.S.
For the family who never gave up hope, talking about it brought out a wave of emotions.
After enduring so much in our family, we finally have our mom home.
Rocio was deported at the start of 2020, despite her son Gibram Cruz being an officer in the United States Army. She'd been in the country for more than 30 years. Her family says she raised 3 kids and worked 16-hour days to make it happen. Though she came into the country illegally, her family says she spent years trying to fix things legally, but her efforts have been denied. Her attorney says family members of active duty military are eligible for deferred action, but the government has discretion.
My mother's case is one of many out there for service members that are serving our country, both here and overseas, and still having to deal with the plight of concerning themselves about the safety of their parents' well-being.
Rocio was allowed back into the United States on a claim of asylum and waiver of Title 42. Her family says she was safe in the United States. Then horrible things happened to her when she was deported and living in Mexico.
I'm saddened that it had to come to this situation for us to have to bring her back. But at the same time, I'm happy that she's here and she's safe.
Rocio says she hopes the Biden administration is paying attention to family separations that are taking place across the country.
Rocio wants this to stop because, like her, there are many other stories as well of people suffering.
Adam Rakusin, ABC 10 News.
The Border Angels organization played a large role in getting Gomez back into the United States. Her claim still needs to go to a judge, but because of a backlog, that could take a year.